All right, welcome to a video about supply and demand. So you've heard about it. If you haven't, this is a strategy a lot of traders use and investors use to pick areas of very strong rejection, or as I like to put it, areas where there are so many orders that there is most likely going to be a huge move off of them. So let's see what we can do. We're going to be on the Bitcoin USD chart. And the only reason I'm using this is because it moves all the time and it has a lot of volume. Yeah, so you're going to be able to see a couple of moves based off of supply and demand just in this 15-minute chart. I'm going to start doing this from December 4th. 15-minute chart. So I'm just going to start picking out supply and demand zones. And then I'll tell you why I'm doing it the way I do it. So I do it based off of large candles. So if I have a large candle like that, that means generally that in this area, there are a lot of orders that needed to be filled. So let's talk about why. Before we do, one of the things you may notice is that there is a lot of rejection from this area right here, right? So we have a lot of rejection first and foremost from this area. We are also looking at a trend that has begun. So let's break it down with everything we've learned so far. We learned about supply and demand. We learned about support and resistance, right? And you can remember, you can draw this any way you like, all right? The main thing is, can you spot the trend? You can start it from here. Great. You can even start it from here. Outstanding. The trend is going up. That's the main thing you want to do. You want to know that. Once you understand the trend is going up, you can then start picking out all these other things that dissect your next trade. So let's just say from here, I'm going to take it all the way back to here. That's my low point. For me, I'm comfortable with that. I'm happy. I have a trend now going up. Okay. In this trend, there are pullbacks and there are rises and falls, right? So here's my first rise. I then have consolidation. Then I have a fall. This then gives me my next point of my trend line. So now I can do first and second. That way I know everything else after that should fall in line with it. And once it breaks the trend line with a lot of confidence or with a lot of, I would say, power, I can then say this trend is over, next trend has begun. All right. Here's the part that's going to be useful to you. We need to pick out a supply and demand zone. As we go through these, we're going to just say that we're going to label them because sometimes people will get confused on where a supply and demand zone is. All right, first and foremost, I'm going to use a box tool right here, and I'm going to use it based off of this green candle right here and the bottom. I'm just going to draw it across. There. All right. At this moment, I'm saying this zone, as price comes down to it, okay, that's important to remember. As price comes down to this, this is a demand zone. If price is rising up to it, it is a supply zone. So let's put something on the chart, make it a little bit easier. Text. And then we'll do it again. All right, so remember, as price comes down to this area, this is a demand zone. As price comes up to it, it is a supply zone. You have to make sure that when you mark these out, you are doing them the correct way. A lot of ways that people do it, the easiest way I would say, is look for candles that are super long, ones that have a lot of volume from them. That means it picked up a lot of orders from this area and took off, or vice versa. It came to this area, picked up a lot of orders, and took off in the opposite direction. With that being said, you can use these zones to gauge your next trades. We already see that here We went up, came back, went up, came back, went up, came back. That's great. You have an area that you're waiting for this to happen. So in a previous video on our stock shots, we actually talked about this specific tool, and this is the date and price range. All right. Trading is not about picking every exact thing to happen at every exact moment. If you look, this moment all the way to here was 58 bars in a 15-minute time. All right, that's 14 hours. I'm not going to sit and watch the chart for 14 hours. The reason I like using this tool is, first and foremost, I can gauge what I might be able to gain from my trade. So let's say I want to see if I can, not even say all of that, let's just say, let's get to where the bodies of the candles are. How about I can expect maybe $167 move, or 0.97%. So this is telling me two things. It's telling me a dollar average or dollar cost, and then it's telling me a percentage. It tells me amount of bars and amount of time. What can I expect? So let me see. If it hits this zone, I'm looking for it. I would first look for it to reject off. If it does not, hey, look, it goes through, no problem. I'm still waiting. How long did I have to wait? I had to wait 15 more bars after it hit this area. After I wait those 15 bars, guess what? I'm going down to here. Most likely I'll be here, but let's be honest. Let's just say we do that. If you notice, this percentage is 90 or 0.90%. This is 0.97%. One of the things you can use off of these breaks of supply and demand are, look at these levels that it makes after it breaks them. This is important. These can be used later as support and resistance, or as levels of strength. And you can use previous measurements to help you gauge what you may be able to get off another trade. So we already know we came up, we came down. All right, we're under this now. This is now a supply zone. All right, so what I'm looking for right now are areas where there could be another, here we go, another demand or supply zone. So I already see my big candle right here, right? Well, that lets me know that I am looking for that to be something later in the future. So I'm just going to drag that box out. And I'm only in the 15-minute time frame, so that's fine. I can still keep dragging this out. If you notice, we came back up here again. So we had 1, 2, 3 times rejection off of it every time so far. 15-minute time zone. Let's keep dragging this over. So remember, we started I think on the 5th of December. Let's drag this over. Oh, look here. Is this still valid? All right, so we're looking at what we currently have. All right, so one thing you're going to notice here, I got a break off of this and this. I'm looking at this one because it's a stronger move, that long candle there. So if I have that strong move, I want to box up this area. Now, pretty much, I think I'm done with this, or should I say this one. So what I'm going to do is make a brand new one right here. And so I come off of this area. So you might be asking yourself, why there? Well, I have another strong movement, a big candle. It's got a lot of conviction, a lot of volume, a lot of money behind it. So if it has a lot of money behind it, that means they had a bunch of orders here waiting to go. That means there may still be some left. Now these two areas we have up here, you'll notice they have become zones where price action is hovering around, right? It's not really doing anything, it's consolidating. So if you're wondering, how can I pick supply and demand zones easier? Well, you can. I want you to cheat. See this? Turn your bars into lines. See this? It's a point. Points, points, points. You can even say that's a point. Here's some consolidation to, guess what? A point. A lot of times what you'll see, you can use a lot of tools that you have at your disposal to make this a lot easier for yourself, and just keep it simple. Keep it simple. We're not going to do too much more, but we will do another supply and demand video coming up. And this is definitely one of the, not institutional, but this is definitely one of the tools you want in your toolbox to help you when you get to certain levels in the market, either a rise, a fall, a consolidation, or a trend, or even if you're ranging. This may help you know you're ranging. Like, see here, we know we're ranging because nothing's happening. It's just going back and forth, back and forth. I would wait for it to hit this area right here. And that can help me understand where I can take profit, start a trade, or exit a trade. So thank you very much for listening to this explanation of supply and demand zone. I hope that was helpful. And if you have any comments, please leave them in the bottom. We'll be here for you. See you in your next episode.